Have you ever told yourself that you are too old to learn a language? I hear this all the time. My brain isn't what it used to be. I can't retain the information that I used to be able to. I guess I'm just too old to learn a language. I'm here today to tell you that that is bull. And I should know because the majority of my successful students are of retirement age and have not only discovered new language skills, but a whole new lease of life by learning Portuguese and integrating into the community here. So in today's video, I'm going to debunk the myth that there is any such thing as being too old to learn a language and share some really inspiring stories from students in my community to make you believe it's possible for you too. So the good news is we totally can still learn new skills even when we are older, whether that's learning a language or learning an instrument, for example. What we need to do is understand what's actually going on in our brains when we learn a new skill. What we're doing is we're building a neural pathway between point A and point B. When you can't do the skill, these two things aren't connected. There's no pathway. So what you're doing when you're learning is building that pathway so your brain knows how to tell the rest of your body, your mouth, for example, what to do. Now, the reason that this is easier to create when we are children is because our brains are very moldable, they're flexible. It's what we call neuroplasticity, which we do lose as we get older. But that doesn't mean that it's impossible. The key to building a really strong neural pathway between A and B is repetition, because the more times we try and do something, the more strengthened that pathway is going to become. Think of it as a road that's really overgrown, it's got trees there, it's got loads of stuff in the way, and then think about when all of those obstacles have been removed and it's a nice clear road from point A to B. It's the repetition that's going to take all those obstacles away. So this means that if you are older, repetition is going to be your best friend if you are trying to learn a language, and it is essential that you build this into your studies. So if repetition is the key, how can you build more of this into your language study? Well, in my program, we use two key strategies. The first one is pronunciation drills. Now, I always tell you that pronunciation is the absolute foundation for a good level of speaking a language. So this really should be where you are starting. What we do is we create short MP3s with several words that contain the same sound, so you can drill over and over and over again the most difficult sounds. Now, as I say, building up this neural pathway for saying complicated sounds like ow and lieu is what's gonna really help you have these just bounce off the tip of your tongue when you are speaking. I also highly recommend flashcards. We use the app QUIZLET to create our own bespoke flashcards so that you can be looking at vocabulary again and again and again so that it is really getting stuck in your memory. If you head to the description, you can grab my flashcards for the 100 most frequent words in Portuguese. I think it will be a big help. And you'll also find the link there to apply for my online program for beginners. It's a short form to see if you qualify, so go check that out if you're ready to go from saying your very first words in Portuguese up to having your first conversation. Another huge thing that is holding you back as an adult learning a language is the fear of failure. So having more of a childlike mentality and not worrying too much about making mistakes is another really good tip if you want to see progress. I actually made a whole video about this and how to overcome the fear of failure over in this video here. You should check that out next. It's got lots of wisdom for you. Now, don't forget, it's actually a huge benefit learning a new language at an older age because it keeps your brain active. So many of my students have said that this has been a real unexpected side effect from going on this journey of learning Portuguese. To inspire you, I wanted to share a few of their stories. So this is Jenny and Derek, and they are about to head off for 2 whole months volunteering on a farm in Portugal. Now, they've been learning with me for for about 3 months now, and I've been so impressed with their progress, even though, as they say themselves, they have a ripe old age. I don't believe it, I think they look great. But in preparation for moving over to Portugal, this was a challenge that they set themselves, coming along to a farm and helping out and meeting some inspiring people, doing something in the day that they love, but also getting to practice their Portuguese. I cannot wait to hear how they get on. Someone else who has gone on an amazing journey is Sharon. This is a picture of her with her friends recently at a football match. These are totally new friends that she has made in Portugal. She actually relocated to the Algarve knowing nobody. I'm so proud of her. And she also volunteers once a week as well at a food bank. So these are two things that she would never have been able to do if she hadn't learned Portuguese, and she absolutely loved it. I recently hosted a case study with my student Barbara. She has a home in central Portugal that she decided she wanted to go and live in full time for her retirement, and she was pretty much avoiding her neighbours. She was so awkward and embarrassed whenever she saw her neighbours because she couldn't speak Portuguese. And after just a few months, she has now befriended the whole village. She's going on weekly rambles with them. She's invited to all the events at the chapel and has made some really, really great friends. So go check out her story next as well. I know that you'll find it really, really inspiring and encouraging. So my final thought for you is this: if you don't do this now, what else are you gonna do? You probably have decades left on this earth to enjoy. Imagine restricting yourself to only speaking to people who speak English or experiencing things in English. There is so much that you could be missing out on. You wouldn't tell yourself that you can't learn to knit or learn to play the piano at an older age. So why wouldn't you be able to learn a language? If you are ready to get started, the best place to do it is my free lesson for beginners. Come check it out, see how you feel, see if it inspires you. I hope this has inspired you to sign up for that. The link is in the description, and let me know in the comments if you are older but you are dreaming of a new life in Portugal, because I would love to hear from you. I'll be back next week with more practical Portuguese lessons in plain English, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a thing. Ciao for now.